when he was married to her, he was not married to any other women. Right? After she passed away from this world, then many of his marriages after that were to protect women that were at that time had no other means of protection. Most of them were older than him and so on and so on. And I have a series on the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him. We explain each marriage and the reasoning for it and so on. But polygamy and homosexuality are not in the same category, right? You have one thing that still has a natural basis in humanity, and you have one that doesn't, right? If you look at the survival of a species, we're going to go to, I mean, even if you take religion out of it, a very core idea of the survival of any species, right? If any species is unable to procreate to a certain extent, in humans they say 2.3 per 2 people, that species will decline and cease to exist. Right? So, in that sense, if, for example, the majority of people became homosexual today, right, how would you sustain humanity? Go ahead.
I don't think it's necessary because we're overpopulated.
Okay, excellent. But think it through, right? Think it through. We're overpopulated today, right? Let's say we start to dwindle as humanity, right? Now, what happens is the elder generations will outweigh the younger, who are workers, who are able to do, right? You cannot sustain society. And we're finding this problem in Europe right now. That's why they're welcoming a lot of immigrants, because immigrants are doing all the hard work, right? So when you have a society where you don't, and you can ask your professor, if you don't have 2.3, I don't know how you get to 0.3, but statistics, right? Per couple, that species cannot survive. If we start dwindling in numbers as a species, we may start to look at a model that we're like, oh, we're getting less population, that's good. But we can't sustain that because the older population that's unable to work will not be able to be sustained by the younger. And as we go generation by generation, when the population does become less and less, in the end, we will become extinct as a species. That's genetics. Go ahead.
Like, I get what you're saying, but I don't think that's completely fair, because you have a lot of people that give their kids up for adoption, a lot of people that don't want their children, and like they have children, they don't want them. And you have these couples that can't like biologically have children, that adopt them and give them a good home. Sure,
but think through that, right? How many people are there that, for example, in the world today, that give up their children, percentage-wise, right? It's minute, percentage-wise, right? How many people are unable to have children biologically? By percentage-wise, it's again going to be minute. But if you have a society where it's not an issue of somebody being born sterile or not able to have children, if you have a society where people make decisions, where they start to go towards a lifestyle that it will not sustain humanity. I know people don't want to talk about this because we have been politically corrected to a point that we can't discuss things. But these are realities, right? These are things that we look in nature. The natural, I'm not going to get graphic here, right? But the method of use even between men and women and other than that, it's not the same, right? There's an exit and entrance and all that kind of thing that you need to think through, right? People don't want to talk about it because they don't have that ability to have that conversation. But we should be able to, as a society. We don't have to agree on it. You can have your view, I can have my view. But we need to have that conversation, right?
I just think, like, obviously we disagree on the topic, which is fine, but I don't understand how it's like moral to love and be with all these different people when like cheating is seen as bad because you're with different people.
Good point.
But then...
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about that, right? Let's say there is a man and he loves a woman, and let's say there's another woman and both of them agree that openly, no secrets, no lying, no cheating, they want to be married to this man, right? If both women agree and they're happy about it, right? How is that lying or cheating, right? In Islam, this is the difference. In America, we have hypocrisy, right? What we have people that tell, I never want to be with anybody else, but then they're at a massage parlor doing things that they shouldn't be. Then they're out there getting caught in hotel rooms with people that they shouldn't be. We have prostitution like you wouldn't believe. We have strip clubs. We have all kinds of things that we hide. We don't want to talk about because we do it secretly. We do it lyingly. Right? And that's wrong. In Islam, that's wrong. Look, if you and your wife, Adam and Eve, one husband, one wife, that's the natural state. That's what the Quran tells you, that look, this is the best. right? You're happy, she's happy, great, right? But let me ask you a question now, right? In Iraq, for example, recently, right? Now, I'm not talking about history of a long time ago, right? We had wars, we had bombings, we as a country, the United States, we invaded a country, the economy collapsed, no law enforcement, many women, their husbands were killed. Mostly those that were killed, military or so on, or executions by death squads and so on, were men, right? There were women now in Iraq that could not get a job. There were no jobs. They could not safely go out and work, right? In that situation, if a woman and a husband say, you know what, there's a woman, she's in need, I'm perfectly comfortable if you take her as a second wife and we all live happily together, openly, honestly, what's immoral about that, right? What would you suggest as an alternative? For her to turn to prostitution, sell her kids? Like, you see what I'm saying? There are situations. If you are not in that situation, great. You don't have to go down to the line of polygamy. You are happy, your husband's happy, your wife's happy, great. Live a happy life. And that's the majority of Muslims. If you look at 99.9% of Muslims, it's just one wife, one husband.